Good morning, Julia.
Good morning, John.
We're here with Julia Payton. She's an attorney, and she's been gracious enough to join us on our spotlight. I'll start off by reading her bio and ask her a few questions. Attorney Payton, admitted to the practice in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, is a graduate of Boston University School of Law, where she served as an articles editor of the Boston University International Law Journal. She has a BA cum laude in political science and honors in international studies from Case Western Reserve University. Attorney Payton has represented clients in family law matters in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, in addition to drafting various documents for estate planning clients. Attorney Payton is committed to a client-centered approach to representation. She works with clients to craft effective solutions to difficult problems while advocating for their goals. So client-centered, that sounds awesome. Tell me more about that.
Well, it's just making sure that what we're doing as attorneys aligns with what the client's goals actually are. And another word for attorney is a counselor, and that's what we're doing. We're explaining, these are kind of the structures of the law that impact your case. Here's some options. Let's talk about what's most appropriate to you, which avenue you'd like to take.
No, that's good. So great point. You say goals, vision. I mean, it all starts with that, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. Everything, unfortunately, can't be as important as everything else in a divorce. So let's, sit down, figure out where you want to be in 1 year, 5 year, 10 years, and how might the divorce impact that?
Yeah. So it's not like they come to you and say, I want to get divorced. Here, sign me up. Where do I fill out my application to divorce?
Well, there's plenty of forms involved, but no.
I'm sure there are. So, what attracted you to family law?
Well, it was something always kind of in the back of my mind. I tried one or two other things fresh out of law school, but kind of funnily enough, I did take family law in my last semester. I liked it, but I wasn't sure it was exactly what I wanted to do. So I did take a position in New Hampshire that was a short-term family law position, filling in for somebody on maternity leave. Got to do it for 6 months, and I thought, yeah, no, I really do like this. One, you get to work directly with people, with clients. It's not a big corporate client, it's a person. I love that. And we kind of get to see a little bit of everything. We litigate, we do contracts. That's what a separation agreement is. It's a contract.
Right.
I get to learn about all sorts of things from, psychological, developmental issues in children to business valuation. So always something new.
Yeah. So, at what point does you start off? You're going through the goals and vision, and then you're like, you know what, we got to litigate. Like, what point does that turn into that immediate? At that
Well,
point.
litigation is always your last resort. I think it rarely comes out with the best outcome for the
Yeah.
parties. Generally speaking, we can be a lot more specific in a separation agreement than a judge will be in a judgment. So some cases have that posture from the beginning, and you're doing discovery, you're exchanging documents, you're engaging experts, and all throughout that process, you're also negotiating and seeing if you can find that middle ground. Sometimes it's just you have somebody on the other side that's not going to be reasonable, and it's you either agree to something that you really don't want to agree to, or you have to push it to trial. But
Okay.
those are rare cases. Generally, I think 90% of civil cases settle and 95% of probate and family law cases settle. So it's a very, not that many cases go to trial, generally speaking.
So it sounds like with that high percentage rate, starting off in a litigation posture would not be the right thing to do because you're going to end up settling anyways.
It depends on the case. Sometimes you need to start in that posture to get all the information and to realign people's
Okay.
expectations. And then there are other people where it's pretty straightforward. Everyone's in agreement. We're just negotiating the small bits, have a full agreement, and it's the only thing that's filed is a joint petition as opposed to a complaint.
All right. Awesome. So it sounds like it's definitely a journey for a lot of these folks. And when someone's starting out, do you have any like heads up advice, like if someone's even just contemplating being unhappy or thinking they've done already their um, seen the counselors or what have you, and they say there's only last resort is divorce. Like at that point, any heads up advice?
Sure. I mean, one of the first things we say to do if you're contemplating a divorce And this is just being a lawyer who, we've seen it all. Very practical, easy to execute advice is change all your passwords.
Oh,
Everything has a password nowadays, and just update those. We say, most of divorce, I mean, there's a child custody aspect, but there's a huge financial aspect. So get all your papers in order, find your old tax returns, make sure you understand what your assets are, what your spending is, what your needs might be. That is a lot of legwork that you would have to do early in the process. And the more organized you can be before, quite frankly, the easier you're going to make it on your attorney and the less you're going to spend on attorney's fees.
yeah. Okay. So when folks are going through it, as you're going through, the financial part, and of course the legal part, is it like, what should they be looking for say a financial type person,
Yeah.
or a team, if you will?
So I would say personally, you want to start with in Massachusetts, we have a requirement, it can be waived, but in most cases it's not, to exchange 3 years of financial history. So that's your tax returns, account statements, things of that nature. So getting your hands on those is a great first step. In terms of looking for a team, whether that's an attorney or a financial advisor or your investment advisor, whatever it might be, I think in some ways my advice is the same across the board, which is make sure it's someone that listens to you. And just as importantly, it's someone that returns phone calls.
That's huge.
That's where I see divorces slowing down a lot right now, is there's somebody that's not returning phone calls. They're hard to get a hold of. It might be your opposing counsel. It might be your counsel. So really somebody that's going to be responsive and keep it moving is going to be a great ally.
Right. So obviously no two divorces are the same. I mean, is there any particular instance that may have impacted you the most throughout your career that you can think of?
Well, you're right. No two divorces are the same. I would say the cases that kind of stick with me are ones where we've helped empower somebody. So maybe it's a spouse that wasn't really involved in the money they were earning, but maybe they weren't managing it, and they're just overwhelmed with the idea of, how do I do this on my own now? And we get them to a place where they feel much more comfortable moving forward. They understand the interplay. This is everyone from somebody that's in their 30s with young kids to somebody that's looking down at retirement. We say, this is how it's set up. You should have enough if you spend wisely, work with your financial advisor to get you through retirement. Or it can be something like parenting, somebody that's kind of been, the less present parent for a variety of reasons, and getting them into a situation where they're a more active parent and they have more quality time with their kids.
Oh, yeah. So going through the divorce, they're in their most emotionally charged state. So they're probably not thinking clearly, with all the pieces of divorce between the financial aspect, the real estate, and of course the legal end of it, along with the children. So you must see like a transformation in their demeanor as once you give them clarity, I imagine.
We can, and it's a different for everyone, but it is a process. Usually they're like ready to go at the beginning. In almost every divorce, there comes this moment where I think the parties realize it's real, and their relationship to this person, their former spouse or soon to be former spouse, is really changed forever. And I think that's a moment of a slight panic for most people, because it's a huge life change. But eventually we get past the divorce, it's final, they come out the other side and they realize, no, I can do this. I can rely on myself going forward.
So as they say, there is life after divorce.
There is.
So this has been great. What's the best way for someone to get a hold of you?
Well, I would say our website is a good place to start. There's a little bit of information about me there, but also just give me a call. We're here and available. So.
Okay. What's the website address?
It's sooholaw.com, SOOHO law.com.
All right, awesome. And they have your contact information in there as well.
Great.
So would you like to leave us with a final thought for the day?
Well, I think you said it really well, which is there is life after divorce. I think anyone that's going through it, it's really hard to see that light at the end of the tunnel, but it's there, and things are going to improve.
Oh, that's great. I like that. Absolutely. So, well, Julia, this has been great. I definitely appreciate you joining us in this spotlight.
Thanks so much, John.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.
All right.